Okay, good day, guys. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. And as always, if you watch this video, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the Formula Sports channel for more of my thoughts on varying sporting topics and issues. And as always, we do appreciate the support, especially from our current subscribers. Now, with that being said, I really want to speak on something that has occurred to me in recent times, and that is the amount of Premier League and Championship overseas born players that the national men's senior team, the Reggae Boyz, are being linked to. And these overseas born players that are seriously being linked to play for us, in my opinion, regarding the overall quality, generally speaking, seem to be better players than the ones we have usually been seriously linked to in the past couple of years. And it's not only the quality, but it's also the quantity of better quality players or players of a certain standard that are being linked. If you get what I'm saying, even in the last couple of years, you had the likes of Wes Morgan, Joby McAnuff, and Mariappa. Good players who at some point all played in the Premier League. Now, in my opinion, the interest from players of this kind of caliber was usually every now and again. You would hear of one being interested. But these days, there seems to be more of these kind of higher quality players who are expressing serious interest in the national program and all at one time. Now, I don't know if I am the only one that has noticed this, right? I don't know if you guys have noticed this as well or even agree with this. But in recent times, the quality of players that I hear the JFF being seriously linked to, we haven't seen this in a long time, where so many players playing at such a high level are in some cases even reaching out to the JFF to be a part of the national program. And this is evidenced even in the fact that England coach Gareth Southgate has been meeting with a number of players with Jamaican heritage to one, try and influence them by telling them England was monitoring them, so they should hold off and wait for a possible England call up, or two, try and cap them like what he did with Leeds player Phillips, who was reportedly very interested in playing for Jamaica, but basically kept them so that they can become ineligible to play for Jamaica, right? The fact that Southgate is having these meetings, this is a clear indicator that the interest from these higher quality players is real. Normally, it would be second and third division born players who would normally be linked to the national program. But you don't normally see so many Premier League and especially so many of the best players in the championship who are eligible to play for us. Some of them playing for teams that are on their way to being promoted to the Premier League. Right? You don't normally see these kind of players being linked with us, especially so many of them so often these days. And this comes off the back of a video I did earlier expressing my shock that one Ivan Toney is interested in playing for the Reggae Boyz and that his reps are scheduled to have a sit down with the federation in the coming days And if you don't know who Ivan Toney is, I suggest you go YouTube him or watch his games at Brentford. He is a young and bright prospect currently plying his trade for Brentford in the English League Championship, which is the second division of English football, the level right below the famed English Premier League, right? This young man is currently on fire and is on his way to absolutely annihilating the second division's record for most goals by one player in an entire season, which currently stands at 30 goals. I mean, just past the season's halfway mark, and Ivan is currently sitting on an impressive 23 goals in 28 games, which is absolutely amazing. And this is a player that rumor has it is currently being closely monitored by none other than England coach Gareth Southgate. Now, as I said in my previous video, I am truly shocked by this news of Tony's interest because of the caliber talent that we're talking about here and the real possibility of this boy becoming a real star or world-class player in the not too distant future. But it's not only Ivan Toney. There has been very real interest in the national men's senior team from a number of overseas-born players currently plying their trade at a very high level in Europe, especially in the UK. Because I can't ever remember a time like this when so many overseas-born players playing in especially the English Premier League and for so many big high-profile clubs was expressing so much desire to represent the country. Now I could be wrong and just exaggerating, but it certainly doesn't feel that way to me. As I stated earlier, in years gone by, when we were being linked to overseas born players, they were mostly playing in the English second and third division. But now, a number of players that are expressing sentiments of wanting to or seriously considering playing for us are players playing and starting in the best league in the world, the Premier League, and also the best players in the championship who are eligible to play for Jamaica, many of whom playing for teams in the running to gain promotion. And also young players who have huge potential like Tony and Ethan Laird, right? Now some of these players have already committed. Some have declared their desire, while others have indicated that they are seriously considering the move. We have already secured the services of one Bobby D. Cordova-Reid and Ravel Morrison, both of whom have already played for us. Bobby has arguably been Fulham's best player this Premier League campaign, while the currently clubless but talented Ravel, who was once labelled by Sir Alex Ferguson as the best talent to ever emerge from the Manchester United Academy, is linked with a number of clubs across the English first and second division. Newcastle midfielder Isaac Hayden, who has been reported by reliable sources like Reggae Boyz commentary as having stated his desire to become a reggae boy, a player who is just about in his prime and starting for, again, another Premier League club. Huddersfield Jamaican born but English grown Rolando Aarons, and one of the leading goal scorers in the Scottish Premiership, Kemar Roofe, currently hold Jamaican passports, with both expected to receive a call-up in short order. And Roof especially is doing big things in Scotland. He is starring for one of the two biggest clubs in Scotland, in Rangers, one of the biggest and most prestigious football brands in the entire world, and is well on his way to becoming one of the few Reggae Boys to ever win a European First Division League and qualify for the UEFA Champions League, right? The prestigious UEFA Champions League. Because right now the Steven Gerrard coach Rangers are so far out in front in the Scottish Premiership that they are basically uncatchable. Ethan Pinnock and Liam Moore are among other overseas-born players that have declared their desire in playing for the Reggae Boyz, with the former seemingly on his way to the Premier League with teammate Ivan Toney at top of the championship table Brentford, and the latter currently captaining Reading, another team in Premier League promotion contention. Rumour also has it that former England under-21 and Southampton Premier League winger Nathan Redmond is also seriously considering representing Jamaica, as he thinks his chances for an England call-up is looking increasingly slim. And if I'm also not mistaken as well, don't quote me on this, guys, but if I'm not mistaken, I've heard that in addition to Pinnock and Moore, 20-year-old English Premier League Crystal Palace defender Nathan Ferguson, who played a major role in West Bromwich Albion's promotion to the Premier League last season, has also expressed his desire to play for the Reggae Boyz. Teenager Ethan Laird, a very young, talented Manchester United centre-back who is out on loan at MK Dons in the English Third Division, has also been reportedly very interested in playing for the Reggae Boyz and is seriously looking at the Reggae Boyz as an option. However, he has stated that he is currently focusing on club football at the moment. Two other players that the Reggae Boyz are also very keen on capping is Mason Holgate and Demarai Gray, who play for Everton in the English Premier League and Bayer Leverkusen in the German Bundesliga respectively. But although both have indicated that they are interested, both have stated that they are currently exploring their options, and Jamaicans are especially hoping that Demarai can be convinced, or at the very least encouraged by his new teammate Leon Bailey. So all these overseas-born players who are being seriously linked to the Reggae Boyz shows my point. It's not every day you see so many players coming to play for Jamaica or seriously being linked to the Reggae Boyz, who plays for clubs as big as Rangers or big and prestigious Premier League and Championship clubs like Newcastle, Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Reading, and players who have previously played for and who are currently playing for a Manchester United. Also, a young player that has world-class potential who is on his way to smash the goal-scoring record for most goals in a single season by one player in a league that is considered by many to be a top 10 league in the world, in the English League Championship. In previous years, even if we were being linked to these caliber players occasionally, It's the fact that we are being seriously linked to so many of them at one time. And these are players that we have already secured or have seemingly made up their minds as to Jamaica being their country of choice that they would like to represent, or players who have stated that they are seriously considering representing Jamaica. In past years, even players like Tony, Pinnock, and Moore, who are some of the best players in the league championship in their respective positions, would have harbored thoughts of an England call up being possible if they could just get to show their talent in the Premier League either via promotion or transfer, and hence would be very hesitant to look our way. Now, there are a couple of reasons that I can think of that is responsible for these caliber players who would normally be holding out with hopes and dreams of repping England to take interest in our national setup. The main reason I suspect for these higher profiled English born players having such great interest in playing for us and being very heavily linked to the national setup is that the fact of the matter is this generation of England players are very good. Some may even go as far as calling it golden, even though others are not so convinced of this. But you will always have the naysayers, many of whom think that every English so called golden generation is severely overhyped and overrated. But I personally think this England team is just overflowing with genuine talent, many of them being world class or being the best in their respective positions, or at least in the running for being the best in their respective positions in the world, are very good young players, very much on their way to becoming world class players, especially where the attacking players are concerned. And the fight for places is really competitive, with a number of class players in contention. And the fact of the matter is the fight for these places are becoming even more competitive as time goes by. So this, I believe, is a big reason for the influx of these higher quality players, because plain and simply a number of these guys are seeing the English door being closed in their face, as many of them, with the exception of probably the likes of Tony, Holgate and Gray, and probably Ferguson and Laird, who still have a lot of developing to do, but many of them have very little chance of playing for England if they are honest with themselves. Certainly a much lower chance compared to if they were trying to get into the English setup in previous years. Let's take for instance a Bobby Reid, right? Bobby Reid would have, in my opinion, had a real chance of being called to the England squad for the last FIFA break in November last year, if England had the same quality in their setup now as they had 10-15 years ago. And I'm not saying he would become a regular, just saying that they probably would have wanted to take a look at him because of the form he was in for Fulham in the English Premier League. I also believe that if it were not for this golden generation of English talent, players like Demarai Gray and Nathan Redman, back when they were starting for their respective Premier League clubs, would have already received an England call-up. and would therefore have been ineligible to play for Jamaica. Now, I do think the high competition for places in the England team is the main reason why English born players look elsewhere for opportunities. But the main factor that I think is responsible for making up the minds of these players is a certain player that goes by the nickname Chippy. And of course, you guys know I am talking about Leon Bailey, that big baller currently plying his trade in Germany. I think it's entirely possible for Leon to be one of the main reasons for Jamaica attracting a higher level of English born talent to come and represent us. When these players look at the team sheet and see a Leon Bailey, they immediately see a player who they would like to play alongside. And of course, with Bailey being a budding star, the brand recognition is there. And these players know exactly what he is capable of. They also see a player who could potentially become one of the best players in the world for about a decade to come. And let's also not forget that Leon has a pretty good supporting cast as well. Players like Andre Blake, Kemar Taximan Lawrence, Mariappa, Lowe, Hector, Nicholson, and of course now Ravel Morrison and Bobby Reed all form the nucleus of the team and are all playing at a very high level. When you think about a Deva Argil, who is a starter for his club in the Turkish top flight, possibly a top 10 league in the world, and is not a guarantee for the first team, this does indeed bode well for the national program, and this is more than likely a reason the national program is attracting so much overseas born pedigree. Another big reason for this as well, I think, is that Coach Whitmore, and you guys know I am a big fan of Coach Whitmore, but I think he is doing a good job as coach of this team. From things like organization and structure of the team to major accomplishments like getting Jamaica to the Gold Cup final and ensuring that we were ranked in the top 5 teams in CONCACAF to be able to qualify for the final round of qualifiers hassle-free. And of course, we are currently ranked 3rd in CONCACAF in the FIFA World Rankings. When these overseas born players see all of this, and also his impressive 50% win percentage, having won 50 of the 100 games he has coached the boys, I am sure this impressive resume would impress them. And for sure, these high level professionals would not want to play for a bad coach or a coach that doesn't know what he's doing, right? So, all of these reasons and the World Cup qualifying right around the corner are responsible, in my opinion, for the influx of interest from these overseas born players. And of course, we welcome all these players with open arms if they're willing to play hard for Jamaica. Because the fact of the matter is, Tapa is going to need all the help he can get, guys. All the help he can get in order for us to qualify for Qatar 2022. So, I am loving this, right? I am enjoying this, seeing all of this interest, and I hope that especially players like Holgate and Gray will make up their minds and choose Jamaica. And of course, we hope that this continues and even more players of such a higher quality come and represent the national team. Anyway, guys, remember to like and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day and take care until next time.